As kids get ready to head back to school, more parents are choosing not to vaccinate. Texas is among 18 states that let families opt out of vaccines for personal or moral beliefs. Plano, Fort Worth, Austin, and Houston ranked among the 15 areas with the most exemptions for kindergartners. According to the Texas Department of Health and Human Services, more than 56,000 students from kindergarten to 12th grade opted out last year. That's up about 4,000 students from the previous year. In North Texas, 1,200 students opted out in Frisco, and that is the most in North Texas. Joining me to talk about the importance of childhood vaccinations is childhood development expert Susan Hoff with the United Way. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So as I'm reading that, what are you thinking?
Wow, you know, you stated the numbers there. Back in 2003, there were only about 2,300 conscientious or philosophical exemptions. So you think 15 years later, we've got 56,000. It's a lot, and it's troubling because what it means is you've got clusters of kids parents who've opted out of vaccinations in some districts and some classrooms, which really causes a public health risk.
So what is the public health risk? I mean, what has actually happened because people are choosing not to vaccinate their kids?
Well, we've seen measles outbreaks in North Texas and around the state. We've also seen
Would those have happened otherwise?
You know, they probably wouldn't, because they started with kids who had not been vaccinated. And so then they spread amongst children who either had also not been vaccinated or those who have a medical reason. They're medically fragile a lot of times, children who've had chemotherapy or perhaps an organ transplant. So they're spreading diseases to children who have a valid medical reason for not getting the vaccination. There's also the risk of spreading those diseases like whooping cough or measles to infants who are just too young to have had a vaccination yet, so before they're 2 months old or even in their 6 months.
So there's 54,000 parents out there who probably aren't going to believe anything that you say.
Of course.
But for the rest of them, why is this essential to do that, to get the vaccinations? Well, I guess I should say this, even better, safety. Is it safe, and how do you know that it is safe to be vaccinated?
Every bit of research has told us that vaccinations are safe. They are not correlated with any negative effects. You know, again, that says the risk of not getting vaccinated, the risk of complications from a disease like measles or whooping cough is far worse than the tiny bit of risk that people may assume from a vaccination. So again, it's safe for that specific child, for an individual child, but overall for all of us, whether we're very young, too young to get a vaccination yet, or older folks who have a fragile immune system, then become at risk with children not getting vaccinated.
I guess in our last moment here together, just really like to challenge the people that don't get the vaccinations. If you do spend some time looking at the source research, which we do from time to time as reporters, you think that, I don't think that these people are digging down to look at the studies that say this is safe and this is safe. They're just, why? Is it just a gut reaction that says this, it must be bad if it's...
Well, you know, I think all of us as parents care deeply about our children, and we have an emotional response. And so if I think I've seen something and I didn't do any deeper research, then oftentimes I'm going to do what I think is in the best interest of my child.
And so how much science is behind not getting your children vaccinated? Is there any science to support it?
It has been completely debunked. Okay. So I would encourage parents, do a little bit more research, dig into it, and do what's best for your children and for all children.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
Good to see you. Appreciate you having us
too.
here. So we're going to leave it